Thanks, Brent. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I'm really happy to be here tonight. These are, as Brent said, our favorite readings of the year, and it's really special for me to get to introduce Soreath tonight. Many years ago, I was driving through the Central Valley Heat, listening, as I do, to KVPR Public Radio, when I heard a voice that I didn't recognize, but that still felt familiar and wise. The voice on the radio was talking about Cambodian refugees, and if I'm remembering correctly, the closing of the Madera County Hospital. The voice spoke with compassion and understanding, grace, precision. It was the voice of a born storyteller. And so when 3 years ago, I opened applications for our MFA program in creative nonfiction and saw the name that belonged to that voice, Soreath Hok, I think I understood that my life was about to change. I didn't realize how much. This is what the best students do. They change you and challenge you. Soreath came to us already well-established journalism bona fides, having been honored by the Carter Center for her reportage on the Cambodian diaspora in the San Joaquin Valley. What I didn't know, but would soon learn, was that Soreath, in addition to sharing her stories and the stories of others, wanted to tell family stories, her family stories. The heroism and hard work of her refugee parents, but also the sacrifice they all had to make in order to keep SHOP alive. SHOP is not simply the Sprinkles Donut Shop her family has owned for 30 years and the home of the best apple fritters in the world. It's a living and breathing entity, a character in a larger American story. As Soreath says in her brilliant thesis, Donut Kid, I did not witness the birth of SHOP. One day, she just appeared, rising up out of a mysterious void and empty space I did not know was even there. Vapors, stardust, a dash of baker's yeast, bubbles and bobbles, big bang, hallowed ground made whole. And when she came, there was no longer a before, only after. And it was then that my life simultaneously ended and began. We did not see the sun under her shadow for many years. Not only do we learn from Soreath's work about the wider cultural and business history of donut shops in California, a great many of which are owned by Cambodian refugees, but we learn about the day-to-day life of running a beloved local business in the heat of the San Joaquin Valley at a time when it's increasingly difficult to survive. We also learn to despise designer cookie shops and tip thieves, and to celebrate the kind of community center or third space that a family-owned donut shop can provide. We see the way that SHOP lives in the hearts of regular customers and families, and we understand that in many ways, Soreath is the storykeeper, storyteller, and archivist of this space. While she's working behind the counter, helping her parents and pushing against SHOP's many demands, she's also making it immortal by telling the stories, these stories. I truly believe Soreath's voice is one that needs to be heard in American literature today. She's given so much love to our MFA program and her fellow students while working 3 or more jobs at once. So let's give a little love back and welcome the writer, Soreath Hok.
Thank you, Jefferson. Love is a great way to describe what I have for the MFA program. It was something that I never envisioned for myself to do. I guess I had never really considered myself a writer because I'd always written for other people. And coming into this program helped me sort of reclaim my voice and find a new groove for it. So I thank my advisor, Stephen. I thank the many mentors who have been here to encourage me to keep finding that voice. Jefferson, who's been like a brother to me, always offering support, and all my fellow students here. It means so much to see your face, to have that support. So thank you, Stephen, for that incredible intro. Yes, SHOP is a main character energy that I did not expect to find. I thought that, I'd be the main character, but no, SHOP has become its own force in this thesis. That's capital S, SHOP. And when I think of SHOP, I think of this image. You guys have probably seen this. This is Edward Hopper's painting called Nighthawks. And if you can envision this kind of flipped, that instead of being a diner, it's a donut shop. And instead of it being a nighttime, kind of after, I don't know, party stop, it's two people, my parents, working alone in the dark, 2 a.m. that they wake up every morning and make their donuts. So I think of this image when I envision shop. So we want to keep that in mind while I'm kind of reading through some of these. I'm going to start with a poem that I think encapsulates what shop is in our life. Shop is mother, shop is father, ancestor, shop is remember, shop is want to forget. Shop is favored child, or neither before nor after, silent sibling, demands to be cleaned and fed. Shop is castle, shop is cathedral, receptacle of God, shrine to sugar, candy maker, an altar we built with our bare hands. Shop is mirror, shop is reflection, cute and tattered, shop is no pretension. Shop is pimp, shop is provider, protector, an abject punisher, a recorder of sins. Shop is first, shop is only, shop is all that matters. This is my inheritance. So part of the things that I write are sort of a visit to past and present, because our donut shop has been a part of my life since I was 6 years old. That meant growing up in the shadow of shop. And I'm just going to kind of read through different excerpts in pieces that I've written that kind of give you a sense of our life. This is an excerpt from a piece called Donut Kids, and it really paints the foundation of what it meant to grow up in this environment. I was 8 years old when I faced my first customer. It was just a novelty then, like a parlor trick. My parents used to elicit oohs and ahs from adoring patrons. "Come here," my mom or dad cooed as I poked my head out the back. "Come say hi," they urged. It took a few tries for me to do more than take a small step forward and give a shy wave before darting back to my hideout, a secret spot where I could spy on customers and make up stories about them to my brother when they weren't there. Up until this point, I didn't think we were allowed to be seen. I thought donut kids were supposed to be invisible, stashed away in the back like trays of toppings and frosting. Back then, we were too young to stay home alone. My parents woke us up in the middle of the night to take us to work with them. We'd arrive slow and sleepy-eyed at the shop, where we would promptly put back to bed, which was a long folding recliner lined with soft blankets tucked into the supply closet. It felt comforting to drift off to sleep as I heard the clanging of the metal fryer or the distant chime of the doorbell. Mostly, it felt good to know that both our parents were just on the other side of the door as we were nestled in the cool dark of the closet, safe next to the sacks of flour bags. As donut kids, to be seen was to be in trouble. Kids weren't supposed to be hanging around a commercial kitchen where sharp metal edges were slick with smudges of melted shortening on its way to the fryer. Everywhere we turned, we were surrounded by equipment that operated at dangerous speeds and temperatures. The blurring churn of the industrial mixer with a heavy metal paddle that turned hot water and confectioner's sugar into a smooth, translucent white glaze. The splatter of hot oil that gushed from the fryer. Every morning, it roared to life like a monster. My father wore the blackened burn scars on his forearms like badges. And the floor often hid a water spill or was still drying from a quick mop. We risked life and limb with the child's careless game of tag. The donut shop was the first place where we learned how not to be children. And so we didn't think it was strange at all when one day my dad pushed me and my brother into the supply closet and raised his finger to his lips. We needed to be quiet no matter what, he told us in Cambodian. If anybody knew we were here, they could take us away. He closed the door shut as we waited in the dark and held our breaths. Through a small crack in the doorway, we watched a stern-looking white man with the clipboard as he made his way slowly through the kitchen, ticking off notes with his pen. So yeah, that was just a small scene of kind of a little kid's life in a donut shop, what it means to be a donut kid. As I sort of progressed through this program, I was living as I was writing what I was writing about, which is weird because it becomes almost like a documentation than a reflection. But it was also interesting because it made the memories and the experiences feel very fresh and alive. This is an excerpt from a piece called Regulars. And it's really about the relationships that we see in a place like a small family business, like a donut shop. Here we were, 36 years after it all started and staring at the end of the line. There would be no more moving, no more tearing down and setting up. Shop's final iteration with our family stands frozen at this moment in time. The way the front space catches the warm, sunny glow of a mid-Friday morning lull. The white walls bounce the bright light off the glass showcase. Depending on the tilt of the sun, customers stand staring at the rows of donuts, shielding their eyes against the glare. The money tree that sits atop to the right side of the glass case fans out majestic. Its thick green leaves soak up the abundance of sunshine. Sitting all in a row on top of the donut case, a collection of children's knickknacks gifted to shop over time. Origami cranes, a plastic dinosaur, a donut shop Lego set. It comes complete with a perpetual girl waving inside the donut shop. The white walls began with framed photos of donuts and drinks, advertisements for breakfast sandwiches and smoothies. But now the main wall is covered in kids' drawings taped from floor to ceiling. Customers walk in and stand in awe. There are self-portraits and family renderings, Batman superheroes and Sonic the Hedgehogs. There are declarations of Riley loves mom and evidence of their presence. Savannah was here. Old drawings get taped over with new ones. A few drawings are made in my likeness, a smiling perpetual girl with a robin's egg blue apron. One drawing stands out, a small acrylic painting gifted to us by one of our customers, Wendy. During the pandemic, she painted our donut shop with a card that read this: Dear Sprinkles Donuts, we've indulged in your yummy donuts during this pandemic several times. Your donut shop has been a bright and happy place for us, and we are so thankful. It's been a few years since Wendy dropped off that beautiful painting, and we don't see her around much anymore. Maybe she and her family moved. Maybe her kids are grown and off to college. Maybe they've decided to cut out the sugar. I see people like Wendy come and go in bursts of light and then silence. Either way, I consider them regulars. Like Phil, who brings his 5-year-old grandson Logan on weekends for what they call man mornings. Just the boys for a couple of donuts and chocolate milk. But I always end up standing at the corner to chat and catch up with them. There's Don, the veteran who comes in a few times a week. He's always smiling and once told me, I don't know what I'd do without you guys. He surprised us with flowers from my mom on Valentine's Day. There's a subtle give and take, a connection, something exchanged with words or a laugh, something beyond the cash transaction. There's something uniquely human about this communal space. I call her shop. There's a version of her that exists everywhere in all communities. Shop is a feeling as much as a place. Shop is where regulars are made. This next excerpt is from a piece called Chasing Paper. There's a lot of challenges that I've encountered just in the past few years, especially, with what we're seeing in the news. So this is sort of outlining some of the financial challenges that comes with running a business. It's called chasing paper. Out of all the years I've been selling donuts behind the counter of my family's donut shop, it was the taco man who made me see the dollar differently. I met him at a street food stand on an early Friday night in Southeast Fresno. The workers were still setting up the meat trays, cabbage, salsa, and limes. I spotted a fresh roasted spit of meat not even sliced into yet, and I was the first customer in line. When I walked up to the register to put in my order, I made eye contact with the man as I handed him a $20 bill. His brown, weathered face crinkled into a smile. He took the money, raised it to his lips, and kissed it. With his bowed head, he touched his forehead and made the sign of the cross over his chest before he slipped it into the till. The night's first single naked bill. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, direct deposit, Bitcoin, checks. These are all ways we see currency transfer in and out of our accounts. But there's something different about making money that lands in your hand. The way the paper feels wrinkled out of someone's purse or folded in the curved shape of a wallet. Sometimes it's crisp and almost sharp at the edges, so fresh the bills stick together. So new that when you rub them apart, it sounds like sandpaper. Some have been washed and dried in pockets, bills folded tightly together. Most of the time, the edges are torn and yellow or worn so thin you wonder how long it's traveled. There's the occasional dry blood stain or streaked somewhere on George Washington's face, drawings and cryptic messages written along the border. Whatever shape it comes in, immigrant cultures feel the weight of every dollar. There's a deep reverence and respect for what it takes to earn it. And sometimes there's superstition. Don't ever step on money or cross over it with your feet. The ground violates its sanctity and could invite financial misfortune. Don't hold on to it tightly either. It's just as important to give it away as it is to make it. And your first customer is the most important transaction. Like the time I got into a searing fight with my parents over the logistics of an early morning delivery run of our donuts to a nearby gas station that wanted to sell them. I had bartered a deal with a local delivery driver who lived in our neighborhood. Come early to pick up the donuts and drop them off in exchange for a free coffee and donut every morning. But the conversation turned into a screaming match, my parents refusing what seemed to me like an easy setup to earn extra cash. We can't give away something for free like that, my dad explained. When it's the first customer in the door, it's bad luck for business. For my parents, escaping the Khmer Rouge did not guarantee survival. Not even coming to the US away from murderous regimes and state-sanctioned famines. The only way forward was the American dream of owning your own business. As newly minted refugees in Los Angeles in 1986, that was the only way to earn money. 36 years later, we've built our whole lives dollar by dollar, donut by donut. We earn money to fund homes, cars, trips, and college tuition. Owning your own business became the most important pursuit. In Fresno, California right now, a dollar doesn't go very far, not when it comes to running a donut shop. The end, just kidding. Eggs cost 4 times more than they did a year ago. Chocolate prices topped out last December over 30%. Flour premixes used to make our dough have been trending higher and higher. And with ingredients like wheat sourced in Canada, cheese sourced in Mexico, and cardboard boxes imported from China, Trump's erratic tariffs have made the cost to do business wildly unpredictable. How do we operate in the midst of a trade war when we're already afraid to raise our prices? Eggs, chocolate, flour, boxes, tariffs, trade war. Do we raise it to $18.49 or $17.99? My dad asked my mom after the morning rush. It was the beginning of the great debate. The annual discussion on whether to raise prices and by how much. $18.49, my mom said, eyes wide with shock. No one's gonna pay that. But Judy's is charging $18.89 for a dozen, and the one around the corner is $15.99, my dad said. Since our price was right in the middle at $16.99, that meant things could go either way. I've witnessed so many price changes over the years. I've always been the one to push for higher prices, but for the first time, I felt apprehensive. With our credit card fee, $18.49 means we'll be in the $19 range, I said. I wondered if it would scare customers away. I could already feel the tightening around me. Our tip jar is a barometer of consumer sentiment. Once filled to the brim on weekends, it now stood almost always half empty. Change that customers used to stuff absentmindedly for tips, $1 or $2, even cents, were now tucked away in purses and wallets. Still, the safer price of $17.99 was risky, taking away any cushion of income to adjust for the cost of ingredients. If it's over $19, what if no one comes here anymore? My mom said softly. Right, my dad said, best to go with $17.99. The generational immigrant mentality has always been to fear raising prices, to question charging what we're worth. Just as we've done for most price hikes, we'll swallow it. We'll swallow what we can of our landlord's announcement this month that rent will increase another $500 and another $200 more every month after that, capping the monthly increase to $1,000. All of this will be done during the hottest times of the year. When it's hot, it's slow. We'll swallow the continual PG&E rate hikes, making it an astronomical cost to run air conditioning. Is it worth it to run up your bill in an empty store? Eggs, chocolate, flour, boxes, tariffs, trade war, rent, heat, PG&E. We can still make money, but not anywhere near the margins from 10 or even 20 years ago. Our plain, classic-style donuts have a perceived price cap. That's why so many donut shops have their product topped with candy, cereal, or cartoon imitations. The more decadent, the more they can charge. For donuts, value doesn't equal a baker's skill and craft. Eggs, chocolate, flour, boxes, tariffs, trade war, rent, heat, PG&E, margins, price cap. Anyway, it builds and builds. This next one is an excerpt that, takes us out of the front and more into the back, so you kind of paints a picture of what it is like behind the scenes of a donut shop. It's called Sacred Space. The front is where we show our best face, not the face of exhaustion or aches and pains. Since my mom started having trouble walking, she stopped helping customers in the front. It was like a boundary line she hardly ever crossed. The back is where the unbridled chaos of donut making happens. It's not unsanitary, but it is messy. The floor is smudged with frosting and spills of sprinkles, nuts, and other toppings. Grease coats the surface of anything within 6 feet of the fryer. Before the vigorous wipe down that happens after service, touching a countertop or door handle leaves your fingers slicked with oil or coated with flour. Aside from the fixed wooden mixing table, every square inch is taken up by something on wheels, be it counters, carts, stools, or trash bins. The wheels allow us to move this puzzle of objects like a game of Tetris. Imagine us sidestepping left and right to maneuver a maze full of hazards to the untrained eye. In the middle of a busy weekend morning, while my dad is frying and glazing donuts, he usually calls me to grab each tray. There's a height and weight limit to make this short walk between the front and back. A couple steps after I cross the threshold to the back, I turn sideways to squeeze past the 6-inch gap between the garbage bin and roll cart, stacked with various bowls and bottles. I clear that to find 3 feet of space between the proofer cabinet and the large metal cooling rack across from it. If a stool or chair isn't in the way, I can easily get to the fryer and topping station just a couple more steps forward to the right. My mom is usually seated in front of the toppings, right next to my dad at the frying station. In one fluid motion, I reach sideways to lift the metal screen of hot, just frosted donuts over my mom's head. I back up a couple steps so I have room to turn around without bumping into the cooling rack. I glide 90 degrees right, take a couple more steps back and turn another 90 degrees right to face my way toward the front. I lift the tray high up over my chest and turn sideways again, past the short gap between the cart and the trash bin. Once I cross the barrier from front to back, it's smooth sailing to slide the rack into the showcase. Customers never see this silent dance. And then this last one I'm going to read about sort of the health challenges we've been experiencing the past few years and how we've been trying to navigate that. It's called Sick and Tired. The sign just showed up one day towards the end of summer. The former veterinary clinic next door to our donut shop had been empty for the past 6 months, with only the remnants of window decals left behind. When the shopping center's management decided to advertise this space, they sent someone to hang the sign in bold black letters, for lease. But whoever did it had miscalculated the distance between the clinic and our store. "Are you guys leaving?" a customer asked one Sunday morning as he walked up to the front counter. "No, why do you ask?" I replied. "There's a for lease sign above your building," he said, jerking his thumb back and toward the ceiling. After the customer left with his order, I walked out the front door and craned my neck up. The sign hung just off to the side in the ambiguous blank space between our donut shop and the old clinic, an awkward space of unknowing. "Dad, can you call the landlord?" I said, walking back in. "They hung a for lease sign too close to us, and it looks like we're the ones closing." "Customers have been asking me about that since yesterday," he nodded. "I called the landlord this morning. They told me it's a holiday weekend. They don't have any workers to send until Tuesday." "Tuesday? So we're going to have a whole weekend of business with people thinking we're going to shut down?" "Just tell them it's not us," he said with a shrug. As a janky short-term solution, my dad taped up a piece of paper on the front window. He scribbled "for lease" with a big arrow pointing toward the empty vet clinic next door. Still, it didn't stop customers from coming in and asking about the sign. That weekend, it felt like we were watching our own funeral procession. One customer after another inquired about the sign and our impending closure. One by one, they left feeling relieved. One of our regulars rushed in that afternoon with her daughter, breathless. "We were driving by and I saw the for lease sign from the street. My daughter and I had to stop. Please tell us you're not closing," she blurted out, eyes wide open. Over the years, the woman has gifted us an oil painting of our donut shop that hung proudly on our wall. My parents had watched her daughter grow older and eventually go off to college. My father always gave away extra donut holes for her dog. "No, we're not going anywhere. The sign is for the space next door," I said, smiling. "Oh, thank goodness," she said, letting out a breath. "We were so worried." We walked up to the door chanting, "Please don't close, please don't close." "It's all right, we're still here. For now," I said. She caught my reserve. "For now? What do you mean by that?" "Well, my parents have been in business for a long time. They're getting older. It's nothing to worry about yet, but I'm just not sure how much longer we'll still be here," I said softly. Her shoulders slumped. A frown formed on her face. "Please tell me you'll be here for at least another 10 years, she pleaded. I wondered if my expression gave me away. 10 years. By then, my parents will be in their 70s, but not a normal 70 because they will have served by then a life sentence of 46 donut shop years. Donut shop years are different from human years, just like there's a difference in dog years and cat years. Donut shop years move in their own dimension of space and time. They drag the body down because gravity is heavier within these four walls. The daily push and pull of cooking, serving, and cleaning makes our faces longer, the years shorter, our souls stretched thinner. And that's where I'll end.